Hey, I'm Greg with Occam's Razors, and today we're going to talk about something that quite frankly pisses a lot of people off. They tend to get pissed off when they listen to part of what I say, but not everything that I say. But what this does is actually reinforces the point that I was trying to make in the first place. It's kind of a circular thing. So, please stay tuned and listen to everything that I have to say, not just what you think I'm going to say based on the prelude. So, without further ado, let's begin. Now, there are many groups in the world. Sometimes those groups hinge on the idea of the people in those groups being dumb. Now, I'm using dumb in a very specific way, and it should not be confused with ignorance. Ignorance is when someone doesn't know something, but they are not opposed to learning. Dumb is just like ignorance in that the person doesn't understand something, but dumb just means they are not willing to learn. Now, personally, there are lots of things I'm ignorant about. Gardening, speaking French, brain surgery. Now, I'm not opposed to learning any of those things, but I only have so much time and so much brain power. So, if I don't learn about one of those things, it's not because I'm not interested in learning, it just means I'm setting priorities. Now, by definition, anyone going to school at U of A is ignorant about many things. You might not know anything about geology, but you have the option to take a class. Now, being dumb, that's a horse of a different color. Where it takes a turn is that being dumb means that you're not willing to take classes, to read a book, to ask questions, or to listen to someone when they try to tell you about something. Now, when you take the time to take a class, to read a book, ask questions, think about a topic, then you become well educated about it. Now, some people are more educated than others, but if you learn enough about a topic, then you at least learn enough to pull yourself out of the ignorant category. Now, what do I mean when I say that certain groups hinge on the idea of people remaining dumb in order for that group to survive? Now, that idea can be applied to many groups, but the one that I'm going to talk about today is the Creationism movement. I know, a lot of people will say it's an intelligent design movement, not a creationism movement. But personally, I don't buy into that, and I will explain why a little later. Now, if you're going to understand the nuts and bolts of this argument, first I have to go through a quick history lesson. Don't worry, it'll be quick. Creationism is an adherence to the Genesis explanation in the Bible of how the world came to be. God created the heavens, the earth, the sun, the planets, animals, Adam and Eve. And he did this in 6 24-hour days. Now, scholars have looked at the dates throughout the Bible and determined that this creation event happened about 6,000 years ago. Now, when evolution came along, it threw a monkey wrench into that system. Monkey wrench. That's funny. Evolution shows us, by using the scientific method, that the story that's told in Genesis about how the world came to be just can't be valid. All the animals, plants, people, everything on the earth couldn't have been created 6,000 years ago. In fact, science shows us that this happened over millions of years. Astronomy goes even further and shows that the entire universe is billions of years old. Now, move forward to 1926. There was a court battle in Tennessee. It was called the Scopes Monkey Trial, which tested the Butler Act. The Butler Act said it was unlawful to teach any theory that denies the story of the divine creation of man as taught in the Bible, and to teach instead that men had descended from a lower order of animals. Much later, in 1987, the Supreme Court took on a case called Edwards versus Aguillard and found that creationism could not be taught in public schools. And now we come to intelligent design. The Discovery Institute took on the idea of revamping creationism and did so by removing the word God from its ideology. Intelligent design simply says that it was a higher power that created the earth and all its wonders, not God. And then there was a final court case which we're going to talk about. Kitzmiller versus Dover was settled in 2005. It was a case where the parents of students in a school district sued that school district when a statement was required to be read before teaching science class that led to belittling evolution and pushing them towards creationism. Among other things, Judge Jones, the presiding judge in that case, found the overwhelming evidence at trial established that intelligent design is a religious view, a mere relabeling of creationism, and not a scientific theory. Now that I've given you a quick history lesson on creationism, let's put it all into perspective. Let's look at two scenarios And hopefully you'll be able to understand what I mean when I say that certain groups hinge on having dumb people in that group. Look, what I'm saying is that it can't be taught in science class. Creationism does not meet the criteria for science. But the Bible says that God created the earth in 6 days. That's good enough for me, so teach it. But that's not science. That's religion. Teach the controversy. That's good enough for me. Look, if you say it's from the Bible, then it can't be science. If it's from the Bible, then obviously it's religion. So how can it be taught in a science class? I can't hear you. Teach the controversy. I win because the Bible tells me so. Look, all I'm saying is that it can't be taught in a science class. Creationism does not meet the criteria for science. Yeah, but why not? Creationism has creation science. And yet, anyone with a basic education in science can punch holes all in every argument that you can make. Yeah, but evolution has holes in it. You can't deny that. There are no transitional fossils. Sure there are. There are thousands of them. And once you understand what they are, you can look up and see yourself that there are thousands and thousands of transitional fossils. Prove it. Okay, look, let's do this. What I want you to do is I want you to go to these websites. I'm going to give you 2 of them. And there you're going to find lists of transitional fossils. You're going to find more than enough information for anything that you ever wanted to know about evolution. You write slow. Now, this whole video basically boils down to this. In much the same way that Burke said, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. The only thing that's needed for creationism to prosper is for people not to educate themselves. With a willingness to learn, and by reading a book or talking to someone who understands evolution, it becomes clear that creationism is a scam. Now, there are many types of creationists, but for the most part they can be boiled down into 3 categories. First, there's a group which includes leaders and educator types. These include people like Ron Comfort, Ken Ham, and Kent Hovind. However, Kent Hovind can't answer any questions right now because he's doing a snit in prison for tax evasion. Now, the second group of creationists is the group that does not actually understand evolution, but they're sticking to creationism for religious purposes. Now, the last group is actually a group that I can't hold anything against. These are people who try to educate themselves. They do pick up information and they do read and learn about it. The problem is that the information that they get is so skewed towards creationism that they don't actually understand evolution. So, here's some facts for you to chew on. Evolution is the most supported theory known to man, supported by so much evidence that even if no fossil record was ever found, we'd still have overwhelming evidence to support it through genetics. The push to teach creationism actually has a bad counter effect because it's taken lots of scientists who belong in the lab doing this great work and takes them out of that. It influences young minds to accept the ideas that there are lots of things they just can't understand, instead of pushing them to do better, to learn more, to study harder. So, why is all this important? Well, here's a few reasons. First off, because students in U.S. high schools rank 17th in the world in science. Because the diseases that kill and harm so many will be cured by the scientists of tomorrow. Also, because teaching creationism in schools is a violation of the separation of church and state. Now, as I said at the very beginning of this video, there are lots of things that I'm ignorant about. There are lots of things that you're ignorant about. There's things that everyone's ignorant about. As part of the reason why I'm not taking time out of my schedule to learn gardening, I'm just setting priorities. But I can tell you that this is a topic where everyone should learn. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to post a quick list of books that if you want to pick up, will teach you tons about evolution. But one of the best sources I've ever found for learning about evolution is actually on YouTube.